welcome back to my channel. I am going to share with you today my next design team project for Country Craft Creations. I made a mini album featuring the Carta Bella Gather at Home paper collection. What I'm showing you here is the 6x6 mega pad stick. So I made this album. I have to admit I am definitely a homebody. I love to go out, but I am definitely a homebody, and the older I get, the more homey I want to be. So I made this mini. Whoops, I believe it is 6 inches, 6 by 8. So I used probably my favorite cut apart in the collection. It just says No Place Like Home, with the pretty tray and the candles and the little vase of flowers. These are 2 of the cut aparts, and this is under here. This is just some of the threads that Tammy has in her shop. It actually might be called Jute. There is a link down below. There's all different colors. You can see I have sort of a light blue, a beautiful dusty pink, and a black. And I also did some of that down here underneath this other chipboard. And then I don't know, it's hard to tell on the screen, but you can kind of see where I use these little diamond water dots. Hopefully they stay on there. It's actually still wet. And then I had this flower pearl trim in my stash. I just put it around the edges. I just gave it a little bit of something. And then on the spine, I love the green gingham. It's like a green and a cream gingham. I used some of actually, I think my ribbon is inside out. Yep. This is that Swiss dot ribbon that Tammy has in her store. And then I also used this beautiful black and white buffalo check. And then I have a bunch of beads in my stash. So I just created a little dangle. It's hard to tell on the camera, but so this is like a cream color. This is that aqua color. This is a very, very pale pink that matches the pink in the collection. And these last 2 are just clear. So that's the front. I love the paper. Everything's so soft and it's all muted. And there's a better look at it on the back. And this says Home Sweet Home. So, yeah, so that's the front. So when you open it up, I should say this has 4 pages. I could have made it bigger. I definitely had enough paper to make it bigger, but I decided to stop at 4. So on the inside, I didn't do anything too crazy. I kind of tried to keep it simple. I just put a cute pocket here. There's this cute little calendar with a little banner that says home. This is a chipboard. And this one I love. This is one of the cut aparts. Together we make a family. This one says let's gather together. This is a 4x4 cut apart. And this was a 3x4 cut apart. I just had this extra piece of the green and white buffalo check, and I didn't want to cut it, so I just loved it. It says life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful, which is true. And so I just slid all those in that pocket. So again, I wouldn't call it a signature, but there's one, a base page. Each one is a pocket, and here is another one of the 4x6 cut aparts. It says this is us, our life, our journey, our home. And absolutely love that couch. I want that for my family room. This is one of the chipboards. It's not a chipboard sticker. Oh, I forgot to back it. Darn it. But it is a chipboard that I just glued in there to actually make it easier to put the tag in and pull it out. So this is just a very simple photo mat with another one of the chipboards that says welcome. Down here, this is a sticker. It says bless this house. And then it folds open like this. And then it also folds open like this. So let's just start over here. This is one of the ephemera pieces. It says welcome. May all who enter as guests leave as friends. And I actually have this over, the same saying hanging over the door to my into my mudroom, which is then leads into my garage. So I love that. I love that phrase. And then just another little, I cut it off with a piece of the paper. It just says gather. Here, this says home is where our story begins. Now, if you want, you can just slide one of these up under here. It will hold it. But there's actually, you'll see in a minute, there's a magnet here. So that'll just, I just added a magnet in between these two layers, and that'll hold it. And then I just left this open. I really, really love this paper. I think it might actually be upside down. Oh my goodness, but you can't really tell. And then that says gather. This is one of the 4x4s made with love, and I love this little pattern paper. It's like a corally orangey pink, and then I love this little clock. I thought that was super cute. This is another one of my favorite papers in the collection. And then this was a cut apart. It says love makes this house a home. So again, that's where the tag pulls out. So this is page, I guess if that's page 1, this is page 2. I absolutely love this chair. Oh, I think I might have undid the glue. I love this chair. It's a chipboard. Look at that. I want that chair. So this is a 3x3 cut apart. It says enjoy these moments. So this is where that magnet that's holding that other tag in place, it's actually right here. So this is just a flap with some of the pretty, like a salmony pink color cardstock. And then this just hides under there. This is just one of the ephemera pieces. It says blessed with the best. And then you open this flap, and this just says simple life. And again, this is left open to slide a photo under. And again, love, 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 love this paper. So page 3 is a pocket flap, or a flap pocket. There's that couch again. Let me move that. I absolutely love it. So this was one of the little cut aparts. Again, this is probably it's 2 3/4 by 3 7/8. It just says stay a while. I just put it on, I matted it. And I just thought it looked really cute, tucked right inside there. This is actually, it's a flap, but it's also a pocket. Whoops. So this is one of the 4x6s. Love it. And then it says home sweet home on the reverse side. So it just hides. I knew this was going to happen. You know, until you open and close the pocket a few times. There we go. I should have put a thumb pull on there. So that stays there. And then the reverse side has this cute little wooden clock. On the black and white buffalo check, it says family time. And then this says bless this house. I love that hutch. And that just slides right in there. Then I also have this one, it's so good to be home with you, with a little Herbie the love bug. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. Okay, and then that opens up to just this beautiful, beautiful area, big photo mat. So if this is 6x8, you can get a really nice 5x7 photograph in there. And then I actually, again, this was part of the cut aparts. So I just left this here, and it just slides right underneath there. And here is the tag, home sweet home, and this is my happy place. I think most of us have this IKEA cart here, or I guess IKEA or Michael's. Love it. Okay. Next page. I just made, I was going through my stash and I realized I have all these little beads and I never use them. So I don't do New Year's resolutions, but what I'm really going to try to do is use up a lot of my beads in 2022. So these just say home, you know, white letters, and it says home. And it's just one of these, don't know what this type of envelope, I think this is a policy envelope. I just created a little, you know, a little pocket, and these are some of the tags that I have left. Not tags, sorry, the cut aparts. Let's stay home. You might have noticed that one. There's that clock, happy together. And these are the extras that I had, so I just tucked those in there for safekeeping. And then I cut out a 1-inch circle. I cut out a little flower with a punch that I had, and then I did a 1/2-inch circle and then put a brad through it, and that just becomes, and I did that twice, and that just becomes the closure for the policy envelope. And then again, this is just one of the, where it says home again, this is one of the ephemera pieces. So over here, this is one of the chipboards. It's just about 2.5 inches. I found in one of my dies, I had a 3-inch circle die, so I just cut a piece of the pattern paper and added that piece of chipboard there. So this is a double belly band. So as you can see, there's one belly band here, and then I just stacked another shorter one or skinnier one on top of it. So I made this cute little tag out of, this is one of the 4x4 cut aparts, added just a little bit of the pattern paper, and then that actually fits right there. And then this one is just a little booklet. This is one of the cut aparts, and I just matted it on a cardstock booklet and just kind of lives in there. You could put a bunch more of tags there if you want to. And then here is another booklet that I made. It says, if there is love in a house, it is a palace for sure. This, I could not for the life of me figure out what this was. I kept looking at it, and at first I thought it was a bathroom scale, which, no, I don't think it's a bathroom scale. I actually think it's a wire basket. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think it is, but I just laugh at myself because I thought it was a scale. Okay, that just slides right in there. And then the next page, it's just, I don't even know what to call it. It's just a flap that was making me crazy because it wouldn't stay up, so I just added some, this is actually some jute. You can use any type of string, you can use ribbon, whatever. I just added a little flap here and put a brad in the center of it, and you can't see the wings of the brad. I don't know what you call it, but because it's inside this little flap here. But here's the other flap, and let me take this off. So there is my favorite, the little hutch. It's probably my favorite because my dad made me one very similar to this that I have downstairs in my family room. Yeah, and I just love it. So anyway, so here I just matted the flap, and it folds down to it has the buffalo check. And here is that gorgeous paper. Again, I just love that. Love it, love it, love it. So when you put this down, you just put the jute around the brad, and that holds the page closed, or that holds the flap closed. And then this is one of the 3x4s. It says, life is better with you. And I didn't mat that. I probably should mat that. And then this is page, what is this page? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is page 7. I just did a small waterfall. It's 5 flaps. And this is one of the cut aparts. It says, thankful, grateful, blessed. Not a cut apart, a chipboard. So I always like to put something substantial at the end of my waterfall closure. I just think it just helps it stay closed better. So I like to use chipboard if I can. So these are some of the 3x4 cut aparts. Some of the best memories are made at home. And here's another gorgeous little floral pattern. Home is where the plants are. And then let's always make the best memories together, and my favorite sofa. And then here's another one of the cut aparts. It says home again. And oh, I need to put a sticker or something here. I'll have to grab something. So what I like to do is leave this side blank for maybe journaling. I guess whoever gets the book, they could put a photo on the front, cover it up, or put the photo on the back. And then you can see here in each one of these little spaces, I added, just a 3/8 inch piece of the pattern paper to kind of finish everything off. And then down here, this was just going to be a photo mat, and you could tell on the screen that this is a dark green. It was just the perfect spot for this chipboard that says Our Happy Place. I love that. And then here is the last larger tag. It says We Are Family, and then this chipboard says Simple Life. So again, it just lives right inside there. Okay, and then the last page, it has two little flaps. Whoopsie. It has two little flaps and a belly band, and this little piece moves, so you could flap this up and flap this one down. How cute is that little vase, the little circular vase with the flowers in it, and there was a sticker that says Grow. It's kind of hard to see on the screen. But then what I did was, there's the clocks, love that paper. I just made another little booklet. This one says Welcome to Our Home. And I matted it, and then I put it on a piece of the solid cardstock that you can, what is it called? It is called Coordinating Solids Paper Pack. Absolutely love this beautiful sagey green color. And then I just took, two pieces of the artisan cardstock and the ivory, and I just made a little booklet. I may add some stickers to it. I actually was thinking that this would be more of a journaling booklet, but whatever somebody wants to use it for is fine. And then it just slides right back in there. Oops, it's getting stuck on. Thanks. Okay. And tucks under there. This one tucks under this one. You could slide that and it holds it closed. And then over here on the inside back cover, again, is just another simple pocket. I love the little teacups, or the mugs actually. And then this is one of the ephemeras that says Simple Life. And this again is one of the 4x6 cut aparts. This one is what is that size? That one is 5. It's a 4x5 cut apart, and I just added some of the pattern paper onto the coordinating solids. And this one also says Let's Stay Home. So I made, a few bigger tags that can just slide right inside there. So that is my project. I hope you all like it. I really appreciate you stopping by. I am in the middle of editing the tutorial. The tutorial will have the step-by-step instructions, and as usual. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, and I will be back soon with my next project. Thank you. We are going to start with wrapping our covers, and so for the front and back cover, you will want 2 pieces of, I always use a medium weight chipboard. I cut 2 pieces to 6 inches by 8 inches. And I already wrapped the first one, so I'm going to set that aside. So you want 2 pieces of 6 by 8, and then for my spine, I'm only doing 4 pages, so I am going to go with a piece, again, another piece of medium weight chipboard, 2 inches by 8 inches. Okay, now for the cardstock to wrap around your chipboard. Because my cover is 6 by 8, I cut 2 pieces that are 8 by 10. And I like to do this with my on my scoreboard. It just makes it a lot easier. It's easier to keep everything in place. So I have these. I know you've all seen these by now. These are the acrylic, right? Yeah, acrylic spacers that Tammy has in the store. Now, I'm not sure if they are available at the moment. They very well may be. I did not check before I started filming, but if they are available, I will put a link in the description box below. And also to, don't stress about writing down all the dimensions and everything. I will also post the cutting guide in the description box below. So anyway, if you don't have the acrylic spacers, 2 pieces, and this is the way I used to do it. I used to cut 2 pieces of medium weight chipboard, or however you want to do it, whatever weight you want to use, 1 inch by 12 inches. So I would take one of them, put them down along the left-hand corner, excuse me, sorry, the left-hand side of the page, and then the second one will go across the top. And what that does, it just makes it so much easier to place your chipboard and make sure everything's straight. Not a big deal if it got crooked, since the cardstock is not patterned, but it just makes life a whole lot easier. So at this point, what you want to do is, I use the Scor tape sheet, but you can use glue, or you can use, you know, the regular Scor tape, just for purposes of the video, to make it go a lot more quickly. I am using the Scor tape sheets. So then what I do is just make sure everything here is straight, everything's lined up. Then I just line up the corner. Hope you can see that. Line up the corner, line up the edge. Oh, hope it doesn't move. Oh, good gravy. Okay, let's do that one more time. There we go. Make sure everything lines up. And then stick it down. Okay? And then I go ahead and turn it over and give it a good burnish. If you have a brayer, you can use a brayer. My brayer is now across the room, so I'm just going to use my bone folder. Give it a good stick, or give it a good burnish so that it sticks. And then we're just going to go ahead and just take the cover and make a fold. Use your tabletop or whatever, and use that to actually help you fold the paper. I like to burnish it down, and then also do one more time. And so that helps just score it. You could also just score it 1 inch around all sides of your cover. And then, now that we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and sorry about that, that sneeze just snuck up on me. So you'll see that once you fold or create the score marks, you'll see that you create a little square here, you know, in all 4 corners. So what we're going to do is just cut up along that fold line just up to the edge of the chipboard. We're going to do that on this side as well. Okay, and then we also just want to cut right along that score line for now and just get rid of that. Let's get rid of that square. Just making it easier to wrap the chipboard. Everybody has their favorite way of doing this. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll just miter the corner, or I'll just hack it off at an angle. It just depends on my mood. So there we go. If you want something similar to that, and you can just get rid of this. Okay. Then what I do is I come over and just give it a little angle right up to the corner, just leaving a little bit. Oh, I already did that one. See, I wasn't even thinking, and I had already angled that corner or mitered the corner. Do the same over here. You don't want this to be too deep because you want to make sure that it wraps your chipboard, it covers your chipboard. Okay. Do the same here. Okay, that looks okay. All right, so now what you want to do, I actually just come along and just give it another good fold it over. Just make sure everything's folded nicely. Then I actually take the short sides and fold them down just to make sure that I don't have any hangover over here. But you see how I have a little bit there? I just want to remove just that little bit. Oh, and I have that little piece of whatever that is. And this side actually looks good. Let's do the same on this side. That side actually looks fine. Nothing's hanging over beyond the chipboard. Same over here, but I don't know if it's just I don't cut far enough or I cut too much, but I always get that little schmutz there. Anyway, so clean that up. And then you want to take your glue or your Scor tape or whatever is your favorite type of adhesive. I don't feel like I need Scor tape on this section, so I'm on the short side. That's funny because I am short. That's so funny. Okay, so I'm just going to glue that down. Just hold that there for a second. Come back to the other side. Don't want to use too much glue because I don't want it, squirting out everywhere. Let's give that a second to adhere. Always have my, this is a dry baby wipe, but I usually have a paper towel nearby just in case it does go badly. So there, you see you have your covers wrapped. So, excuse me, I did the same thing. Did the same thing with the other cover. And then for the spine, again, our spine is 2 by 8, and yeah, so the dimensions are a little different. With the other two covers, we had just a 1-inch overhang, but on the spine we have a 1.5-inch overhang. And so with the acrylic spacers, they come with, there's a set of 3. There's 2 1-inch and 1 1.5-inch, I believe. Yes, 1 and 1.5 inches. So we actually leave a 1.5-inch flap on the spine. So for your spine, if it's 2 by 8, you add 1.5 inches on either side. So you need a piece of cardstock to wrap this 5 inches by 8 inches. Hope that made sense. And what you would do, same thing we just did on the last one, you would put your spacer here, and then you would also put your 1-inch up here. Oops, I can't believe I didn't do that right. Right? And then stick down your chipboard, and then just wrap it the exact same way. Cut out the square, cut out that square, miter your corners, glue down your flaps. Okay? So what we're going to want to do, we'll say this is our front. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to go ahead and glue down the flap on one side. So let's wrap that down. Make sure it lays nice and flat. I like to give it a good, so that that glue adheres. So as you can see, it's wrapped nicely. The chipboard's not showing on the corners. I hope the chipboard's not showing on the corners. So it looks good. So what we need to do now is attach this to the spine. Did I do that the correct way? Let me see. Actually, leave. Yep, we're going to do that this way. So we're going to set this. I actually do this a little differently. You can actually, on this one, you can glue down both. This probably looks a little different than the way Tammy does it, but oops. Let's wrap the other side. Okay, gorgeous. So pretty. Oh, by the way, if I didn't say already, I am using Artisan cardstock in the ivory color, or it's not white, but it's ivory, I believe is the name of the color. Okay, so we're going to take our spine, and I like to put it in my scoreboard to help keep everything straight. Doesn't mean it's always straight. But what I am going to do is add some Scor tape just for a little bit of extra protection here. I'm going to add some Scor tape to this flap, because we actually attach this on the outside of the book, or the outside flap, sorry. Okay. And then I also like to take a little bit of glue right here in the fold, or, you know, in the, close to the fold. I'm going to remove that. Now I'm going to line it up. Okay, and then just, I don't want to go over but you want to put it as close as you can. So see how that actually popped up there? When you hit that, that's how you know you're doing it correctly. Okay, that means you didn't adhere it down past the edge of the chipboard, because that is definitely possible to do. Okay, then I like to get in there. I would definitely use the blunt edge of your bone folder, and just get in there and create that little channel. Don't press too hard, because you can cut right through the paper, and I've done that 100 times. So you see, it actually looks beautiful. So then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Add some Scor tape. And again, you don't have to use Scor tape. I just like that the Scor tape gives it the instant stick, and then the glue that I put along the edge actually will dry a little more slowly. So let's remove that. Okay, oops, you know what we need to do? We need to close these down, fold these up. So let's take your other one. Give that a good burnish. Make sure you get good contact between the cardstock and the chipboard. Let's do the same on the other. Oops. And then I just like to look at all the edges, make sure there's nothing sticking up. Okay. Beautiful. Now I can bring this back in. Just make sure I don't have anything hanging over. Alright, let's grab a little bit of glue, put it pretty close by. Got a little spot here with no adhesive. Alright, so again, line everything up. And use your scoreboard, you know, across the top, helps you keep everything straight. Sometimes I have a heck of a time keeping everything straight. I'm just going to come in here. Oh, I think I scooched that a little bit. There we go. Okay, turn this over. Let's give this a good burnish. And form that little channel. Okay, as you can see, it actually looks so nice. I just think that just looks beautiful there. I love it. So, let me see. Okay, so you see it's a little bit flimsy, you know, because there's nothing really holding it together. So we are going to cut our cardstock, and we're going to cover all this up with some pretty cards, with some cardstock. Now this is, you know, your own personal choice. If you want to use pattern paper here, you know, that's your call. I like to cover it with the same color cardstock that I use to wrap, and I will give those dimensions to you in just 1 second. Okay, to wrap the inside, we will need, for the spine, I cut a piece that is 5 by 7 7/8. That's probably a little too much. You could probably get away with 4 by 7 7/8, but I already had this cut, so I'm just going to go with it. And then again, I'm just using Scor tape sheets. I had a bunch of little straggler sheets laying around. You can absolutely use glue, but I tend to like when it's with the spine specifically, because it's gonna, you know, your binding system is going to go here, and it's going to take a lot of abuse. So I like to actually use Scor tape here. So you're just going to want to come up here and line it up as close as you can, as straight as you can without going over there. And I can already see I have a little bit of overhang, but I will fix that before we're finished. So then you're going to also want 2 sheets or 2 pieces that are 5 7/8 by 7 7/8. Oopsie. And, you know, regular glue is fine here too. And just try to line. Oh, whoa, no, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick. Does anybody else do that? Do you talk to your cardstock and ask it not to stick? Okay, so I want to make sure I just leave a little border over here along the left-hand side. Okay. Then, I mean, that's not going to show anyway. So remove all this backing. Sorry if I'm super close to the camera. I have to stand up to do this part. I can't do this while I'm sitting. So let's see if we can line this up. I'm just going to take my craft knife, which, oh, here it is, and very carefully perform some surgery here to try to get rid of that littlest bit of overhang. Okay, hopefully it doesn't look too bad on the other side. We will make sure and cover that up. Okay, so now what you need to do is just very carefully pick the right side, left side, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to actually form that channel. Again, take the blunt edge of a bone folder and just carefully fold that over. Because what you want here is these two pieces of cardstock, the one that covered the back and the one that's covering here, you want them to meet and stick together. Okay, let's do that again on this side. So you shouldn't get too much resistance if you just do it slowly. If you are getting resistance and you can't pull the cover all the way up, that probably means your cover, the edge of the chipboard cover is too close to the edge of the chipboard spine. And there we go. So it should, I do this very carefully, you should be able to lay this flat. Ta-da! I don't like that little bit of overhang here, but somehow I'll cover that up with something. Just don't tell anybody, okay? Anyway, so there is our cover made. So then you have a gorgeous 6x8 cover for your book. Okay, now I don't show the binding method in my videos. You can use the Hinge method. There are 112,000 at least tutorials out there. I have my own favorite binding method. I can share that with you if you'd like. Just reach out to me. Many of you have, and I've actually provided that. You know, I learned it a long time ago from somewhere else. But anyway, so go ahead and choose your favorite binding method. This book has 4 pages, so you're going to only need 4 hinges. Yeah. So, you know, and you'll want a 1/2 inch gusset in between each hinge. So that's how I put together the book, and we will move on to constructing the pages. And I'm going to actually miter my corners. Again, just remove that little bit of bulkiness that you get. I have so many tools over here, I don't know which one I want. So we're going to remove the backer, or go ahead and apply your glue. And then this is just a little bit shorter than my base page. You can see that little bit. It should be about a 1/4 inch. Yep, about a 1/4 inch shorter. I'm going to make sure my sleeve is open, so the left-hand side will attach to my hinge. And then this side, I'm just going to slide in there. I'm going to make sure it's lined up at the bottom of the page. Uh-oh, uh-oh, don't stick, don't stick. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Woo! Okay. So, hope you can see that. Lining it up at the bottom. You don't want to go over the fold. and then just stick it down. Okay? Then you're going to fold and burnish that. Okay. Where did my bone folder go? Oops. Now, who put that across the desk? Anyway, fold and burnish there. And then that's going to fold across the front. Burnish there, and then just give that a good stick down there. And you can see it still leaves the pocket is still going to be open. Okay? And if you did use wet glue there, I would just take your paper towel or baby wipe, dry baby wipe or whatever, and just wipe along that edge just to make sure that none of your glue seeped out, because you don't want it to, unless of course you want to close the pocket. I intend to use this as a pocket, so I'm gonna adhere it to the hinge, and then this will be a pocket. I always do that, pretty much on all my mini albums. I always have a pocket. Anyway, so one thing that I neglected to mention, I'm sorry, if you want to round the edges of all of your flaps or use an edge punch, whatever you want to do, depending on whatever paper you're using, you might want to actually, punch the edge or punch the corners before you actually stick this down. I always forget to do it, and it always makes me crazy. So anyway, so that is page 1. It really is that simple. I'm not sure if I'm going to use a magnet to close it or not. I haven't decided. I think once I put the pattern paper on, excuse me, it's going to be heavy enough that it's going to keep it closed, but I just might do a swing tab. If I do, I will definitely I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so that's page 1. It is really that easy. So let's flip that over, and this now becomes page 2. Page 2 is very simple. I am just doing a top loading flap. Let me grab my magnets. Okay. So page number 2. Just taking a piece of cardstock that is 4.5 by 5.5. Sorry, I thought I wrote that on there. Oops. 4.5 by 5.5. All right. So then on the 4.5 inch side, oops, come here. On the 4.5 inch side, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So basically, we're just making the flap. Okay. And let's take and apply our Scor tape or your wet glue. Miter the edges. Give it a good fold, good crease. Now you can decide where you want to put this on the page. I had decided I'm going to do mine at my flap at the top. You can put it over here, you can put it over here, you can put it on the bottom and make it flat down. It's all, what you want to do. I am going to do mine, like I said, at the top. Oops. Make sure your page, so that's the front of page 1. Make sure you have the top, making sure you're putting it on the right direction. And then what I like to do is I do this upside down. I don't know why. I guess it's just easier for me to see. So I line up the folded edge of the flap with the folded edge of the base page. Just give it a good burnish. Crease it down really well. Come back and burnish it again. Okay. Then we're going to take a magnet. These are the basic gray large magnets. I always throw away the packaging. Oh, actually, I have some right here. I know Tammy carries these in the store. They're called Basic Grade Magnetic Discs. These are the large magnets. I also have the small ones, but I find for my mini albums, by the time you put pattern paper on, and it depends the thickness of the paper, that sometimes they're just not strong enough, so I don't even risk it anymore, and I go with I use the large. Whoops. And it's inevitable that happens. One always jumps the track. So you need one positive and one negative, so one plus and one minus. I've just put the two shiny sides, the two sides without the sticker on it. And then there's no real rule on how to do this. It doesn't matter if you start with the plus or the minus. But I just like to come here, and if I'm at 5.5 inches is the width of my paper, I will just come down about an inch or so. Try to center that. Actually, it's a little bit off center, but that's okay. Nobody's going to see it. So I stick down one side, remove the backing on the other one, and just let it fall where it's going to fall. And there you go. Easy peasy. And then just in case the adhesive wants to be a jerk, I add a little bit of Scor tape. I know it's probably overkill, but it makes me feel better. So that is your page 1 and 2. Now, if you want, you can add another magnet. I forget which one. It was the plus or the minus. You could add another magnet right here, and it would hold that closed. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that, so I might actually just use, depends on the pattern paper I put on this page, I might just use seam binding. We'll see. So yeah, so there, page 1 and page 2, done. This actually comes together pretty darn easy. Okay, so you're going to need another one of your base pages. So this would be the second base page. So for page 3, we're doing something fun. I like to do this. I'm calling it a pocket flap. You'll want to start off with piece of cardstock that is 5 inches by 11, so it's 5 inches wide by 11 inches long, okay? And you want to put it in your scoreboard on the 5-inch side. We're going to score all the way down the page at 1/2 inch, okay? Then on the 11-inch side, it's kind of wonky because I've already done it. On the long side, or the 11-inch side, you're going to score at 3/8 inch, 1/2 inch, which is going to give us just this little gusset, and then also at 5 3/4 inch. Okay. Then what you want to do, you'll be left with something like this, where this tab will come all the way down. You can either put this into your paper cutter or use some long scissors and just cut. We're going to cut away this half of this tab, well, a little more than half, less than half of this tab. So you're going to cut right along that score line to remove that, and then just miter the edge. So we want one flap here and one flap here. Okay? Then we're going to add, we're going to put Scor tape on the, actually let me do that again, because I think I just confused you. So we have our 1/2-inch flap on the left hand side. We removed this excess flap. We didn't need it. So then we're going to fold the remaining flap under, because we're creating a pocket, and just go ahead and crease that. And then you have this other flap on the right hand side. We're going to fold it and crease it on that 1/2-inch mark. Then we're going to also create that little gusset and fold it on that 3/8 inch line. Okay, so that you have something that looks sort of like that. See that? Okay. So then again, either using glue or score tape, we're going to close up this little pocket. And then we're going to also need, you can either run the glue along this side or run it along the edge of this flap, because we're going to close up the pocket. Don't want to use too much because I don't want it to seep out and make the pocket smaller. So there we go. And we just formed a pocket. Okay, and then what we're going to do is on the base page, number 2, we're going to actually put some glue or some score tape. I decided to have mine, adhere mine to the flap of the pocket, and I'm going to have it come from the right hand side, only because, so this was page 1, this is page 2, this is page 3. You can either put this, so here's a rule of thumb, basically what I do. You could do it any way you want to do it. If I have a flap at the top of the previous page, I put another flap at the bottom. I could put it in the middle here so that when I close them, you know, nothing gets squished on this page. So it's just something that I try to do. You could, again, you could put it wherever you want to put it. You can actually line it up and adhere it to the top of the page. If you wanted to put it on the left-hand side of the page, I would just be careful, because if this is, so if this is going to be in the binding and this opens like this, it could wrinkle the flap of your prior page. So if you want it to come from, open from the left-hand side, just move it over a little smidge. You know, don't line it up directly with the edge of your page, just in case. It's heartbreaking when something gets wrinkled and you didn't mean for it to happen, at least for me. Okay, so I'm going to put my score tape on the inside of my flap. Ooh, a little too much. Again, you can use glue. All right, make sure you put your pocket, your flap on with the pocket facing up. That I have done too. And I have a little bit of overhang on my score tape. Just I don't want anything sticking out. Okay, just clean up that edge. Alright, and just like we did on the last one, I'm going to line this up pretty close to the bottom. Don't want to go over that first fold where we made the gusset. See, I left a little bit, that little bit of gusset just makes it a lot easier to fold, and you don't have any resistance when you close the pocket. So that is page 3 done. Okay, so it will look something like this. So you have page 1, page 2 has the flap with the magnet, page 3 has the pocket flap. Now you can use another magnet here. This has enough weight to it that it's not going to flap around, even though I call it a flap. Once I put the pattern paper on both sides and put a tag inside there, it's not going to move. It's not going to be a problem. So that's page 3. This side will be page 4. And page 4 is fun. I think it's fun. All right. So we're going to create another pocket. Fancy page 4. So we are going to cut a piece of cardstock 6.5 inches by 6.5 inches. And you want to put that in your scoreboard, and we're going to score 1/2 inch on 3 sides. So 1, turn it 1/2 inch, score it, 1 turn, and score at 1/2 inch. So we're just making a basic pocket. So I'm going to fold along your score lines, give it a good crease. Do the same here. Do the same here. Okay, and then you're just going to want to go in as we did before. Angle along the tab, or miter your tab this way and also this way, and then cut this way and then miter the tab this way. Then I also will come up here, miter that edge and miter that one. Okay, so you have something that looks like that. Again, it's just a basic pocket, and I decided to use score tape, but you can use glue. Actually, remove the backing and then stick down one side, stick down the other, and I do that so that it creates a little bit of a gusset inside the pocket. Okay, again, you can do this however you like. Whatever's your favorite way to create a pocket. I think we all pretty much do them the same these days. Okay, remove my score tape. I'm going to line up. Oh, mine came undone. I'm going to line up my pocket along the bottom. Whoopsie. There we go. You don't want to go past the edge of our base page. And then just give that a good burnish. Make sure that's going to stick. It looks like I went over here, but I didn't. That's just the extra edge, or the extra gusset from the prior page flap. Alright, so give that a good burnish, and you can see that we have a nice long pocket. Okay, so what I also did here is I'm just going to do a cover, so it kind of looks like, you know, one of those envelope type pockets. Okay, so I cut myself a piece of cardstock that's 3 inches by 5.5 inches because my base page is 5.5 inches wide. Put it in your scoreboard on the 3-inch side, score it at 1/2 inch. Didn't do, oh. Forgot to remove my hickmajig, my mat, for heaven's sake. Score it at 1/2 inch. Okay. And again, if you want to round your corners or edge punch your corners, now's the time to do it. So put it in, fold over your flap and crease it. And then go ahead and miter your corners. I must have some sticky on my scissors because everything's sticking to my no-stick scissors. Alright, so I'm just going to turn my page upside down to make it easier for me to line up. Then I'm just going to do the same as I did. I'm going to line up the fold of my flap with the fold of my page. Try to keep it straight. Whoops. Okay. A little bit off, but it's okay. Let's give it a good burnish. Just make sure you don't have any overhang. If you have a little bit of overhang on one side or the other, you can always just set it down and slice it off with your craft knife. So what we have here is we have this big pocket with this little flap closure. I think I'm going to do one of those, what are those flaps called? You know what I'm talking about? With a little circle and it has a little brad here and down here, like a policy envelope closure. So I may do that. I may just go back and put a magnet in. I'll let you know in the end. So that's page 3. That's page 4 is done. So your second base page is done. So far we have the flap on page 1. Page 2 has this magnetic flap. Page 3 has this pocket flap. And then page 4 has this, policy envelope of sorts type of a flap. Okay, so that's page 4. We are moving right along. Page 5 is pretty easy. Whoops, just dropped something. Page 5 actually has some tape on it I need to remove. Okay, so you need another blank base page. You put it all together. Don't look at the other side. Oh, I'm going to have to remove it. Okay, anyway, let me remove that. You got a little sneak peek. I forgot to take it off. Okay, so ignore this for now. So you have a new base page, and we are going to make like I'm just calling it a stacked belly band. I don't know what it's officially called, but that's what I'm calling it. I'm taking a piece of my cardstock, cut it at 4 inches by 8.5 inches. Okay. On the 8.5 inch side, I scored it at 1/2 inch, turned it around, rotated, scored it at 1/2 inch again. Now, what you can do is you can score it at 1/2 inch or 8 inches. I don't know, I just got in the habit of turning my page around, so I score 1/2 inch, turn it 1/2 inch. Second one, you're going to want a piece of cardstock that's 3 inches by 8.5 inches. Again, with the 8.5 inch side in your scoreboard, I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch, turn it, and score it at 1/2 inch. So you have something that looks like that. Okay? And then this smaller one's going to live on top of the bigger one. Okay? So you can go ahead and fold along your score lines and burnish. Do the same on the other side. And I miter the corner. Or miter the edge of the flap. Alright. And then let's do the same to the smaller one. So before I adhere this into the book, I'm going to take the smaller of the two and turn this upside down, line it up in my scoreboard, and try to center this. Sometimes it's easier to say than do. Oh, not so bad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that gets a good stick down. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my notifications on my phone. Alright. Let's take off the score tape. Or again, use your glue, whatever you prefer. And then just stick that down. Okay, so you have something that looks like this. So you'll be able to put something here. Alright, so let's grab our page, our base page. I'm going to turn mine upside down. Again, this doesn't exist yet, so just ignore that. We are going to center this entire contraption on this page. You don't have to center it if you don't want to. I just like to do that. Okay. Got a little bit of overhang there, but I don't think it shouldn't hurt anything. Okay, so that's page 5. So as you can see, oh, it's not too bad. Okay. We created, again, a stacked belly band. I don't have any. I'll just use this since it's a different color. We'll be able to put something in here underneath this one. And then we can also, isn't it crazy I don't have any paper laying around? Can't find a piece of paper. Then we can also put something else, another big tag or, you know, a little folded booklet in there. So I love these stacked belly bands. I may even go so far as to put a tiny little pocket on the top one. I don't know. We'll see. So that is your page 5. So page 4 has your policy envelope. Page 5 has your stacked belly band. Now page 6, you don't have to do this part if you don't want to. So page 6 originally started off as just a flap that was going to come from, you know, open to the bottom. But I don't know what made me, I don't know. So what you want to start off with, you may not like this, and you don't have to do this part if you don't want to do this part. But, you know, start off with a piece of cardstock that is, oh wait, yikes, let me see. So it's 5.5 . Yep, 5.5 by 5.5. I wrote down over here 4.5, but it's 5.5 by 5.5. I'm going to put it in the scoreboard, in your scoreboard, with the 5, well, they're both 5.5. So score it a 1/2 inch on the left side, rotate it, and score it a 1/2 inch on the right side. Okay, and then I have this little closure. I just took a piece of cardstock and it's on crooked. Of course it's crooked. Maybe not. I'm going to tear it off. Tear it off so I can do it with you. Oh, see, this is why I love Scor tape and artisan cardstock, because it always comes right off and doesn't make a mess. So anyway, so this little closure is a piece of the cardstock. It's 1 inch by 2 inches, and I scored it on the 2-inch side. I scored it at 1/2 of an inch and 1/2 and 1.5. Okay, so I'm left with a 1-inch square here. So I just folded it. You can see how with the little tab, I made this little closure, made a tiny little sleeve. But before I closed it up, I punched a hole in the middle for a brad. So this just became, you know, like a little hitch post type of a thing. Okay, add some Scor tape here. I'm actually going to add glue since I pulled it off. And I just centered it at the top of the page. And it's, oh, Jesus. Okay, there we go. Let that dry. Now I might have messed it up, but anyhow. That's going to get covered with pattern paper, so that will never be seen. Okay, so then, so I was trying to come up with a creative closure, right? So what I did, because we created 2 flaps here, right? 1 on each side. Let me open that up. I just took a piece of twine, and actually I can show you how I did it. I cut the twine not twine. This is like a skinny jute, I think it's one of these. I have skinny, but then I also have like a flatter jute, a fatter jute. You can use whatever you have. You can use thread. You can use, I don't know what else, embroidery floss. Then I just folded it in half, and then I just made a little knot. You don't need a big knot. You just need something that will go around your little post or around the head of your brad. Okay. So then I just thought that was fun. And then I just folded. You can see it's not permanent yet. I've just used some purple tape. I found it was easier to come down here, attach the bottom flap, then attach it to the hitch post or to the brad, and then I taped the edges down. I'm going to actually glue that down in a minute. And see, I have just a little, I left a little bit of play in the string. I didn't want to make it too tight because I didn't want it to, curl up anything or, be too restricting. So, yeah, that's kind of how I did it. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take off the purple tape and try to hold this all down. I'm going to actually add some Scor tape here. All right, wish me luck. I'm going to leave that little tiny piece of purple tape on there because nobody is going to see it. You don't even have to do this part. Like I said, you can just do a magnet. Okay. All right. Let's see. I love jute, but I hate the little fuzzies. Yeah, you guys can see the little stray hairs. So then I'm going to take this off. I'm going to put some Scor tape on the flaps. Now you can wait to stick this down until you put the pattern paper on here, because as you see, I made mine just a little too short. I thought I was so clever, but that doesn't bother me. I think that'll be fine. So you see how it's actually holding the flap? It's giving it a little bit of room. Didn't want to make it too tight so that the page went like that. Right? So then what you can do is just, if you want to open the flap, take off your jute, and the flap opens up. So I thought that was adorable. If it is a little too restricting, you can always undo this knot and make it a little shorter. But I'm okay with how it turned out on mine. So, all right. So that's page 6. Let me clean up this little bit of mess here. Okay, so that's page 6. So that was 5. That was 6. Page 7. Actually, I decided to leave page 7 blank. I'm actually going to put down my pattern paper, put a nice 5x7 frame, and put some embellishments and stuff around the frame. So I thought, there was a lot going on this page. I didn't want to put too much embellishment to actually get in the way of this, because sometimes when you open the page, if you have some chipboard or something, it can get caught on something on the previous page. So, yeah. So I'm just going to leave that blank. So this is page 8. And I wouldn't be me if I did not have a waterfall. So, I'm going to do my waterfall on the last page. So, I cut, how many of these do I have? 1, 2, 3, I have 5 pieces of cardstock that are 3 3/4, and this should be 4 1/4. Whoops. Yes, by 4 1/4, I cut 5 of those. Then in my scoreboard, with 3 3/4 inch in the top right, I scored it 1/2 inch on all 5 of them. Fold them over, fold on your score line in burnish. Okay, and then we're going to just make sure that we are at the top of the page. It doesn't really matter, but I want mine, now I'm conflicted. Which way do I want mine to open? So you can either put these down along the left-hand side and have it open this way. I haven't decided. Or you can do them this way. I think I'm going to stick with my original. I'm going to stick with my original open from the left. I don't know though. Dang it. Funny. Like you guys are seeing, this is exactly what goes on. Yeah, let's do that. Just because we already did it. Okay. So this side will be my left-hand side, the side that connects to the hinge. So I'm just going to make sure I'm lined up at the top and make sure I'm lined up here. Okay? And then just stick it down. Again, if you are going to round your edges, then you definitely want to do that before. It's just so much easier. Yes, it's possible to take, a corner chomper and just, round your edges. So, yeah. All right, next one. I just think, why create a hassle if you don't have to? Then we just remove the backing or add your glue and line up your folded edge with the tab from the previous one. So see that tab here? We're going to take the next one. Okay, and I'm going to fold the tab under. I like to line it up here along my scoreboard and then just slide it into place so that I know it's straight that way. Okay, so far we have that. Sometimes it still gets out of whack because, I know we're all close to perfect, but that's number 4 and number 5. Oh, now see, that one got a little crooked. Oh, let go, let go, let go, let go. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. Oh, now see, this little jerk, he got out of whack. So you can always just try to straighten them out, and it's like it never happened. Nobody will know, just you and me. Okay, so I think I'm good. Yep, I didn't go beyond the top of the page. So you just have to decide what kind of closure you want. I think I'm going to use seam, but not seam binding. I'm going to use ribbon on this one because I have this gorgeous buffalo check ribbon. that I'm going to use to close. I don't know. So I'm just going to leave it flapping in the breeze for now. But by all means, you can take a piece of cardstock that is, I would take, to make a magnetic closure, you just put your magnet here in the middle, or you can put it a little closer over here. Apply your magnet, take your magnetic closure. So if I put it in the center, that's about 4 inches, right? Then I would add a 1/2 of an inch so that to make a flap to fold it under, you would adhere that 1/2 inch flap here, and then take a 1.5 inch, or maybe just a 1 inch by 4.5 inch piece of cardstock, and make a closure. You've all seen the 1 or 1.5 inch closures here. I may actually just use seam binding. I don't know yet. I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but the final cutting guide will actually show exactly what I did. And then when I do the walkthrough of the project, you'll actually see how I closed it. And then you have this area down here. I actually have a stamp. Oh, I'm not sure. I meant to actually pull it out. I have a stamp that's like a journaling stamp. I may just stamp right here, so it'll look like some notebook paper down here. Oops. Yeah, for journaling. So, but we'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I haven't decided which pattern paper is going to go where. So until I do that, I'm just going to leave it blank for now. So let's go over again. So this will be page 1. So these are our pages. So you see, I mean, they're not very difficult to do. I'd say this is probably maybe beginner level, maybe like intermediate maybe, but not hard to do at all. So, I mean, if you're a beginner and you've never made a page before, it may take you a little time. That's what's awesome, because all of us at Country Craft Creations, we give you a free tutorial. We give you a free cutting guide. If you ever have any questions, we're always available in social media. You can tag us anywhere, meaning us as, all of us on the design team, and Tamara. She's the owner of Country Craft Creations. Sally Phelan, she's our creative director. She's always available to help out. So we never want you to feel like you're alone. So anyway, basically I'm saying if you need any assistance, please reach out. We're happy to help you. Okay? So anyway, so page 1, we have this double fold out flat page, right? Page 2 has the top magnetic flap, top down magnetic flap. Page 3, I think I just decided on a closure. Okay, page 3 has the fold out pocket. If you remember, that's a pocket. Page 4 has this policy type of an envelope. Okay, and it's going to have a fun closure. Page 5 has the double belly band. Page 6 has this funky, I don't know what it's going to be called, this crazy closure. Right, page 7, page 7 is blank. It's just going to have a nice picture frame with some embellishments. Page 8 has the waterfall. And then in the book, inside the book, we will have, obviously it'll have pattern paper, and I haven't decided yet if each cover will just stay plain or if it will have a pocket. I haven't decided. If I do decide to put the pocket on, I will by all means give you the dimensions of the pocket. So that is the construction of the book and each one of the pages. When we put the pages in with your binding system, I like to center the pages. You just use one. Center the pages on the spine. So this usually has about a 1/4 inch, and this usually has about 1/4 of an inch clearance. Yeah, so the next time I see you, I will have the book decorated, and I will walk you through it, and I will let you know whatever changes I made. Thanks. I have a couple of changes that I made. So I said earlier in the video that I wasn't going to do the binding system, the Hinge binding system, but I did because I actually put my pages in using the binding system that I always use. I mentioned that earlier, and I screwed it up. I left a little too much room on with the first page, so that my last page is a little bit squeezed. But it's okay, it still works. I still have plenty of room. But if you recall, I was going to leave page 7 blank, but I got flustered from when I put the page into the book, and I put it on the wrong side. But that's okay. So page 7 has my waterfall. It's a happy little accident, right? Because it actually looks pretty good next to this funky, whatever this closure is we're going to call it. I haven't decided. But I went ahead and I put magnets to hold it shut. And let's see. So this is a 1 inch, and I made it by 4.5 inches. And I scored it. You'll see here. You can see right here, I scored it at 1/2 inch and just attached it, put some Scor tape on the little flap, and that holds that closed nicely. And then I thought, well, but this page looks so boring. So what I decided to do is I also, in addition to the 12 by 12 paper collection that I'm going to use, it's called Gather at Home by Carta Bella. I also have the Mega Pack, the 6x6 Mega Pad, and it has some super cute little 3x3 cut-aparts. So I decided to do this. And so I cut 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 3 3/4, scored them on the 3 3/4 inch side. I scored it at 1/2 inch. And then what I'm going to do is place them in the book. And I made a little mark here. This little mark up here. This is 1/4 inch down and 1/4 inch in. And I am going to put them there. Let's just do that for you right now. I'm going to make them these tiny little flaps. So I'm going to line that up with the top of the book. Okay, so now we have a cute little flap. And then I will put a piece of colored cardstock, and then I will place the cut apart on there. Then I did the same thing down here, measured 1/4 inch up and 1/4 inch over. But I decided to actually line it up along the bottom of the book, and you'll see why in a second. Okay, so that left me this nice little gap right here. Oh, I'm not sure why is everything shaking? I'm not sure why it's shaking. Shouldn't be. Anyway. Okay, so then I decided, I saw something in a video that I really loved, and I want to say one of our other designers have done it also, but I'm just not 100% sure. I'm actually going to put a little belly band of sorts right in between the two. Oh, I've got that fuzz everywhere. And I'm going to actually take, so I did the belly band, it's 1 inch by 6.5 inches. Then I also did another little small one that's 1 inch by 2.5 inches. So for the longer one, I put it in my scoreboard, scored it at 1/2 inch, turned it around, again scored it at 1/2 inch. Then for the smaller one, I scored at 3/4 inch and 1 3/4 inch. And what I'm going to do, I actually need to put a piece of score tape on one side. It doesn't matter which. What I'm doing, I'm just making like a little belt for this belly band, and I'm going to wrap. I hope that fits. I'm going to wrap it around. Stay with me. You'll see in a minute. Wrap this around, and hopefully this will slide so that this slides. Okay. Then I'm going to remove my score tape backing. Essentially, I'm just creating a slider to help keep hold on a second. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to put them right in between the two. There we go. Make that as straight as you can so that this will slide in between the two flappies. Okay, so then I just used this 2-inch scallop circle punch, cut it out a piece of the colored cardstock that I'm using. Then I'm just going to I took one of the, this is one of the Chipboard Phrases. It says, "This is my happy place." Just going to put some glue. Oh, come on. Oh, every time the camera runs, every single time. Okay, so just going to add some glue on here. Center it on my pretty little scallop. Right. Then I'm going to put some glue on the little slider. Attach this to the slider. Just give that a second to dry, and then that will hold down both sides, or both flaps. Oops. Cute, right? So you could slide, and then you slide it one way, untuck the flap, slide it the other way, untuck the flap, and that just is a super cute little closure, little flap closure. So again, leaving the right front cover blank for now, I'm thinking, and also the inside left cover, the inside right cover. Gonna keep those blank. Yeah, so that's our book. So, let me also say, for the hinge, the measurements on the hinge, you want a piece of your cardstock. You can use a coordinating color cardstock or the same color cardstock you use for your cover in your in your pages. You want one piece that's because we need 4 hinges. You'll want one piece that's 5.5 by 7.5, and then you'll put it in your scoreboard, and you will score at every 1/2 inch down to 5 inches. Okay, so I already did mine. I wasn't going to show this, but I thought it wasn't fair, so I scored at 1/2 inch 1, 1.5 2, and so on, all the way down to 5 inches. So then what I do is I turn it over on the back, and I know that the 1/2 and 1 inch, then you glue that together, leave a 1/2 inch for the gusset, glue the next 2 1/2 inch pieces together, leave a gusset, glue the next 2 together, leave a gusset, and then glue the last 2 together. So I will show you as if this was the inside of your spine. You would just take this, center it as best you can, and just stick it down. Obviously you would put Scor tape or your glue. I would not use hot glue here. I always like to use Scor tape, I think I mentioned earlier, because it's going to take a lot of beating with the pages turning and everything. You want something really, really strong. So then you just center it left to right and top to bottom, and then you have your hinges in your book. Thank you very much for watching my tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Thank you. Bye.